All right, Israel peace deal lasted 24 hours with Hezbollah. Let's connect this to Daniel 9, 24, 25, 26, and 27, which connects us to 2024 this year, 25, 26, and 27 years coming forward. And let's break things down. And I understand the church has programmed you in ways that you cannot see and hear the things that I am going to say to you if you are just now finding this information, okay? But when we count the 7 weeks, 62 weeks, and depending what version will depend on what part of the script it points to. I'm using the KJV today, a nice big old script here, and it's got all little tidbits in here. And if you've had the birth of Daniel inside of you, you know this because it tells you that it's one who dreams and sees vision with prophetic elements concerning future events and who can work as a seer of the Jehovah. That Joe here and that ho here, ho, ho, ho. And the Joe on the Don keys back with the Democratic. Well, he's back. He came with the dark sun first. And now he's in his full light. And now he's on the sea Nile and he's giving birth with the Moses and all that. And the baskets are laid out to gather up the Moses and those hook, lines, and sinkers for the Christ session at the right hand to worship his name and number, his message and way. Number in 45, 47, 9, 11, the Abaddon, the Abaddon. They have the keys to the pit. And so let's tie some things together, because when we look at these things and where we've been since 2020, 2021, with the last of the trumpets sounded, and whoever is in the position that I am, where we've been taken up into that high place, we were shown what was coming, and since I was a child, I've gathered these so-called talents through the studies and reading and listening and learning and watching and absorbing and whatever else, right? But we actually have a hand of Satan and a hand of Jesus inside of us. We have these hands that connects us to the 10 horns and the 7 heads, 7 chakras, the 5 senses of can, the 5 senses of can't, and we hold the 2 cards in our hand and playing these deals. But the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings has taken your king and your begotten son, and he's put your light out here, and he's actually going to he's controlling your hands. He has the hands of your puppets. He's going to lay down and fold for you, okay? So as these 2 hands are being gathered, we might need to be the one who's actually stepping back and watching this take place or whatever, to where when we have that birth of Jesus come, the Joseph and the Prime Mary and the Kamala and all these things run together for the January, winter occasion. The so-called Jesus people who are know the time and place that we're in, who've been following and catching up and who aren't left behind, and all those other, they aren't left behind, they aren't marked on the right hand, that watching the world stage as that birth of Jesus comes, that Joseph and Mary takes you out of this area. So this might be a time where we need to move from this nation and wait to come back and actually see what happens. But when we look down in the 24 and 25, 26 and 27, and the 9, 10, 11, and 12, as we're going forward, we're going backward, spiritual into a carnal. So the 9, 45, 10, 46, 47, 48, or 48. So as the 9 is here, and the 10 and 11 with the 47 election, these are all kind of overplaying and overstacking. This is where we've seen this, that, and the other, and gone back and tracked it and shown you that this was playing on. And then now it's happening on an overlay, because we're on an overlay. It's like a projection. It's a projection, and a projection works in an overlay. And in order to get all 4 colors, all 4 heads, you have to have the red, the yellow, the blue, and the shadow, the shade. And then the shade, the shad, is what brings it all together. Okay, and that ring is the bridegroom situation, the hook, line, and sinker. So, the Jerusalem, the J is the H, the her rule sum, that can be, we can see a parallel economy set up, and this is where Trump is supporting crypto, and then, but he's supporting oil. So that they're not going together because petrodollar is being taken out while the BRICS is crypto, and all these things are being set up for the new heaven and earth. And the BRICS, the house made of bricks, the wolf can't come blow down and such. So today, the end of the peace deal, we find out that it lasted 24 hours, waking up on Thanksgiving Day. It's tied to the 1128 is the 4/8, tying to the 4/8 eclipse, which connects us to the birth of Dawn, because he was born in the 46 on an eclipse day. And then the Kamala is the moon, so the Elon is the dark maga, the dark sun. So all these things are working together as a new solar system, or a new heaven and earth are being set up. The old solar system is going out and such. So in 70 weeks are determined upon the people. If you count, where's my numbers at? We'll get into that in a minute. Hold on. Might have to do a part 2, but to bring an everlasting righteousness, that everlasting righteousness was tied to the Tyson-Paul fight. All right. And then the Jerusalem, her rule sum, and then the Messiah, the Prince, the Messiah, that is Biden getting a senile stuff going on, and that's also Kamala coming in being so-called drunk or whatever. But then in the same video, or not the same video, the same outfit and the same hair or whatever, she's totally coherent with her husband. So I don't know if they just did the video first with her husband, and then they just did played what's the beer pong or whatever, and then she did the other video or what. But this is given over to the delusion, to where you're shown the same outfit, but it's two different people. And then also it's tying in as Jesus, the Most High, those types of things. But anyway, so the Messiah, the Prince, this can be tied into that's where you get the overlay, where it's also Biden and Kamala, because the syllables and all those things can break down, and as the syllables break down, this connects us to the matrix, and as the words and numbers and syllables break out and expand and condense, so does all of our reality. But this is where everything that is written and built on is in these days and coming. So this is kind of where everybody is kind of that beast man, because everybody is going and acting and doing as they expect. Okay, everything is set. Everyone is given the set to live your life, and that's your so-called reality. So that's where you might have to travel or change sets or whatever kind of thing, or leave when shit hits the fan. Okay. But as we can look back my channel is basically a reveal backwards from when all this happened, and working through all this in a backwards fashion and figuring these things out backwards. And this is the only way that we can know where we're at now, because the church and the pastors and what we're told and all these things is telling us to look for this, that, and the other, but it's all there to blind us, just like the way the Bible is a two-edged sword, but the way it's being used against you is where it has you against the back. And since the sword's against your back, you are falling for the backside. Okay? And the backside's in front of you as the dawn is rising. And I've told y'all in the past that it looks like the numbers say that according to the longest count on the dollar would be 2029. And now that we're here, and now the BRICS is setting up, and there's two hands, and it's a twofold system, we can see where China said they were ready in 2025, but they can go anytime sooner, but that's when they be pulling a card. And then we have the ID in May, and we have the woman in power now, and we can see multiple spectrums now, how 2025, the serpent year, the Christmas spirit, all these things are where the Christmas, that eve, you're getting your, if you're ahead, you are seeing the Christmas open up early. Otherwise, if you're the carnal man, you are going to be given the box basically in 2025, and it's going to be opened up by then. And that serpent year, which the Chinese New Year in February, that's when that serpent comes popped out full force. And you got March Madness and April Fool's Day for the Adam, and the May Day, and all those things stacking up. Okay, so everything is built on these days. You're programmed so you can never see it. You can never hear it. All right? And we'll end this here and do a part 2.